As far as Toronto is concerned, the biggest occasion when Elizabeth Taylor came here in 1964 with Richard Burton, it was a big scandal at the time. They had been living together, it was unmarried, and they may have just gotten married. But when they arrived, all the media was out there at the airport to follow them in. I was a reporter for the Toronto Telegram at the time and was assigned to that one. I remember with all the press hanging over their shoulders, I remember writing a story at that time for the Telegram saying that I don't care what they did. They didn't deserve this kind of treatment, no privacy. So it was a rather sympathetic story. Well, the next day they were staying at the King Eddie, and again all the press was around at the bottom of the elevator to see them as they came out. And June Callwood said to me, she said, "You wrote a very sympathetic piece for them. Why don't you send it up to Elizabeth Taylor and maybe she'll give you an interview?" I said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And lo and behold, an hour or so later, the public relations person came down and said, "Would you like to have lunch with Elizabeth Taylor?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And there was one table in the middle of the room with me, Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, and their public relations person. And I was looking at Elizabeth Taylor saying, you know, the usual incisive things like, "What do you think of Toronto?" And I looked over and I saw all these journalists with their little noses pressed up against the wall looking. So for the hour of lunch, or however long it was, I had this exclusive aspect to Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, and her eyes, I think, were the great attraction at the time. They were sort of haunting, magnetic eyes. When she turns them on you, you kind of are immersed in them. You can't break away because she looks so intensely. I really didn't specialize on talking to showbiz people. If I were doing it today, I'd be asking her what she thought of Libya or something that isn't showbiz. But I was trying to stick it to showbiz, and it's not one of the things that I know much about except going to movies. So I think it was an absolutely terrible interview as far as interviews goes. But of getting the interview was the achievement of the moment, because the only one in Toronto who got it.